All right, at long last, we'll do some replacements here. And we'll actually show you how to use the captured groups in our replacement. So let's change our regular expression and let's capture the T and the C. So we're gonna say anywhere table cleaner is found, we want to replace it with TC, an abbreviation. So let's do that. So we need to add parentheses. So we're going to capture these. When our regular expression matches, we're going to capture the T and the C, and we're going to use those in our replacement. Now we could hard code that. We could say, well, if you find table cleaner, replace it with TC, but we'll just show you how to use the captured group. So now let's save the changes. And I think what we want to do is, again, I like to test to make sure whenever we make a change that we don't break something. So let's just go here. And let's run this, and we get our matches. So it's still basically working. Now the difference is, if we look at our submatches, let's look at our submatches. And what we should see is an array that contains a T and a C. So let's try that. Yeah, so there's our T, comma C. Now the comma is just because we returned an array. And so if we go up here, let's just check it here. So now we can use this in our replacement. So let's rough this out. And I think what we'll do is we'll have another function. And we'll call this function, let's see, function do FindChange. And what we want here, I think, is let's see the best way to do this. So we need the text range because we need to delete the text, and we need the doc object because we need to replace the text. And let's see what we want here. So let's do it this way. Let's do the let's pass in the change text instead of passing in the whole match object. We'll pass in what we want the change to be. So this will be a little bit more of a generic function, because typically if we do a find, we're going to have a text range, and we return that here on line 29. So I think this will work. So the first thing we want to do is we actually want to delete the text. So we say doc delete text, I believe it is, and we pass in the text range. And that's going to delete the text because we found the text, we need to delete it, then we need to add our new text. Now what we'll do is we'll test this. So let's do this. Do FindChange, and we're going to pass in the text range, and we'll pass in the change. Now what we want to do here is we're going to do the match object, and we're going to do the submatches, and we're going to join that. We're going to use the join method to join those, and we're going to separate them by nothing. So we're not going to put anything between the members of that array. So that should just give us capital T, capital C. And then, so that's what's going to be our change text, and of course we need the doc object. And you can see on this line 42 why we need the doc object. So we'll do this now. It's going to delete the text. It won't do the replacement, but we'll revert to save. Let's just make sure it works. So let's run it here. And you can see it deleted all 3 occurrences of the word table cleaner. So we know this works. So let's revert to saved and get that back. And so once we delete the text, essentially, let me just show you this manually. Once we delete the text, our cursor is going to be right there. Our text, the beginning of our text range is going to be right there, and that's where we can use the add method to add in our replacement text. Let me undo that, and let's go back to the script. So we're going to delete the text, and then we're going to say doc add text. And we're going to add it. Now we need a text location here, so we can say text range begin, BEG, and then what do we want to change it to? Whatever we passed in here. So now we could do that in here, but it's nice to have a separate function so we can actually see what we're doing. We could even test this. If we just wanted to delete the text, we could pass in undefined as a second parameter. So we could say if change. So in other words, if this didn't come in undefined, then we want to add the text. So we can make this a little more robust. If we just wanted to delete the text, we would just instead of passing in something here, we would pass in undefined. We would just type in undefined, and it would just do the delete, and it wouldn't change it to anything else. So we can use different methods like this to make things a little bit more flexible. All right, so let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. All right, let's run it. Yeah, so it worked. So there's our TC, there's our TC, there's our TC. So that's basically how you do find, replace. And that's really what's happening when you do find, when you do edit find, and you put in a replacement string. That's really what's happening. FrameMaker is finding it, deleting the old text, and putting in the new text. So that's how we do it. And you can see that there's a way to use the captured groups. Now let's just do one more thing here. Let's revert to saved. And what we can do, let's say for instance, we mistype this with a lowercase c, and let's see what we get here. So you see we got a lowercase c here. So the way we can change that is we can go into our function, our FindChange function, and actually, yeah, we can do it. Actually, we can do it here. We can say, look, we want to make sure that no matter what we match, that we replace it with uppercase. So we can just change this to uppercase. And that's a method, so we need the parentheses. So now when we run this, you'll see that even though it's lowercase here, actually we'll make the whole thing lowercase, table cleaner. And when we do our replacement, we'll get an uppercase TC because we changed it in the change text.